these live streams so that you guys know when to expect them, but they also might be spontaneous on other times, so we'll see. Still an experiment. I'm still learning a lot about live streaming. Ryan's here. Ryan, thanks for coming. I saw you over on Chris's live stream, so thanks for coming over to mine. I was on the other side, like while Jason was typing, I was trying to set up my computer for my live stream. So Jason Wrobel, a dear friend of mine, is going to join the live stream tonight, so we can chat about anything. It can be kind of a Q&A. He's actually never used YouNow up until like a few minutes ago. So Jason, and I'm actually at Jason's place right now. He's right there, but he's going to hop on his other computer so I can show him how to be a guest on live stream shows, and that way you guys can like see us in a cool split screen and hear us okay. So go ahead and click enter live chat, Jason, and then I think try going over to the guest section. I don't know, I'm still learning a lot about okay, yeah, become a guest. So I think, oh, but your camera's not set up. You're gonna have to set up your I'll show you guys the behind the scenes. This is so wait, click on your camera icon and click that. Is there anything blocking your camera?
No.
Our plan may be no. He's like trying to take a screenshot of himself, but his camera feed isn't working. Hold on. Let the Apple expert come in and fix this. So I used to work for Apple, and I learned a lot about troubleshooting. I'm a bit of a nerd. So let's just see what's going on with his computer over here.
It's one of the perks of being best friends with an ex-Apple employee.
And an ex-period. Why isn't that's weird that your camera's not working.
I know.
Let's try going to your settings. Thanks for the thumbs up, Ryan. I promise this will get more exciting in a moment. I didn't realize that we were going to have this. It's funny, I do so many live streams, and every single time when somebody's brand new to a live stream, there's like some issue. Maybe we have to go here. Let me try one other thing. Yeah, this is weird. You know what? I hate to say it, Jason, but you're going to have to restart your computer.
I don't want to do that.
Listen, you're going to have to do this sometime anyways. It's good for your computer to restart.
Do this shit.
Hi, Oksana, or Oksana. Thank you for being here tonight. How are you guys all doing? My friend Chris is over broadcasting on the Vegan Zombie. And if you guys haven't checked out him, he's also using #vegan here. So if you want to go check him out, you can go check out Vegan Zombie as their username. And yes, Ryan, Jason will be a guest, but he has to restart his computer because for some reason the camera isn't working. I'm telling you, it's always good when you restart your computer because he's all upset about it right now. So, so Oksana just got back from Vegan Zombie. Is he still? It looks like he's still live. So I hope that you enjoyed listening to Chris, and thanks to both Ryan and Oksana for coming over to my live stream. How long was Chris live streaming for? A while? I feel like it's helpful on YouNow or any live streaming platform to live stream for like at least an hour. But we'll see what happens tonight. What I might do is actually help Jason set up his own YouNow live stream, and then I'll become a guest of his. So I'll keep you guys posted on the structure of all of that. And welcome to Q-Star, who's here. Thanks for tuning in. And Alex, it's Alex's very first time on YouNow. That always is an exciting notification to get because I'm always quite curious, like what brought somebody to YouNow. That happened to me last night where I didn't even share it to my Facebook or my Twitter as I usually do, and yet like people just find the streams and it's their very first time, and I'm just always so fascinated by that, like how you guys even find out about YouNow. So Alex, tell me, what brought you to YouNow tonight? Love to know. So if you guys have any questions, if you want to ask me a question, or Jason when he gets on the feed, or if you just have a question about veganism in general or eco-veganism, which is my specialty. It's all about natural living and helping people learn about how to be kind to the planet and all of that. And Oksana has a great one. What are some tips on eating vegan with a non-vegan family? I love that. So I might wait to answer that until Jason gets on the feed, because I'm sure he has some really great things to say. But for now, he's just trying to set up everything. Struggling? I think he's a little upset. Did you go into your apps? Here, let me. Okay. Hi, Kevin. Thanks for being back. Welcome back to the feed. Alex is watching from Australia. So, Oksana, please remind me to answer your question if somehow it gets lost in the feed. And Bloody Zombie is a fan. Thank you so much. Have you checked Vegan Zombie? If you are vegan or interested in veganism, you should check out Vegan Zombie as well, because I feel like that goes really well for your usernames. And so, Jason, any luck? If you go to the guest section, then what happens? Restarting the computer, you guys. If you're ever having trouble, a restart is often the way about it. Okay, so are you going to take your little screenshot? Huh. It's funny because I've never seen what it's like. What it's like to be on the other side. No, nobody's going to see that. Just give us a moment. Jason's coming on. It's going to be a lot more entertaining. Okay, so now I can bring Jason on as a guest. Here we go. It's going to be good. Jason's my second guest ever. There he is. Now I can hear an echo, though.
You also can hear a cat in the background crying for food, even though they are sufficiently fed.
So why don't you introduce yourself to everybody?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jason Wrobel, and I like to make up songs about chocolate, cats, and sexual fetishes. And last night I did a whole improv session on Instagram Live where I made up songs for an hour straight.
Did you?
Yeah, so I like to make vegan food. That's what most people know me for. But I also do stand-up comedy. I do improvisational music. I don't know. I'm clearly starting a cat farm.
Well, a lot of people don't know who you are. So give them as many details as you can. So
I'm from Detroit. What up, Detroit? Any Detroiters on the feed? I am Puerto Rican and Spanish and Polish. My mom is vegan. 2 of my cousins are vegan. My aunt is vegan. My uncle is slowly heading in that direction. So I'm pretty blessed by having a real health conscious family back in Detroit. And I've been living in LA for 10 years now, over 10 years. And I have a small cat family. I'm currently single. My birthday's coming up in almost a week. Week and 2 days. 9 days. My birthday's coming up in 9 days. If you guys want to send me anything for my birthday, I know we just met, and I know it's my first time on you now, but if you're feeling generous and want to give a birthday present to a stranger, I'm definitely open to accepting that.
Good to know.
But I write cookbooks. I have a YouTube channel. I hosted the first primetime vegan cooking series in TV history, the first and only, actually. And now I'm just feeding people and making people laugh, and I don't know.
Okay, well, let's get started, because that's a lengthy introduction, but you can see Jason's got a lot going on. So I just want to welcome Samantha, Jara to the feed. It was Oksana's birthday yesterday.
Oksana, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Oksana.
And I want to also welcome Walter and Kate, who are watching over on YouTube right now. Thanks for tuning in, you guys.
Walter was my grandfather's name.
Walter is also the name of my landlord's dog, which is a very fitting dog.
Who might be the resurrection of my grandpa.
But I feel like The name Walter fits this dog so well. Do you guys know what this is like when like you meet an animal and it has like the perfect name for it? Mm-hmm. But then sometimes I wonder, like, does it feel like the perfect name just because you don't know any other name for that animal?
No, it works for him.
Yeah. So hi to Debbie. Thanks for being here. And also Dan. So Dan, I'm going to answer your question second, but Oksana is impatiently waiting for us to answer her question, which was, and Oksana got erased somehow, but I believe your question was advice for, was it eating with non-vegans around? We can start with that one. Oh, look, Walter came over to you now. Hi, Walter. Good to see you. Okay, so Jason, well, I'll start with my tips and then Jason can chime in. Nod8D is here again. Thanks for joining. You've been so wonderful. Okay, so my advice is when you are with non-vegans, it really depends on their attitudes about it, because some non-vegans are going to be super accepting, laid back, like it's not a big deal. It depends on your relationship with them too. So I've had a lot of friends who have known me for many years. They themselves are not vegan, but they know that I am, so we go out to eat and it's like not that big of a deal. Like sometimes we have these like micro conversations about, you know, oh, like, can you eat this? That's always like the common thing. Or, oh, I'm sorry, I know you can't have that, so let's try something else. Like a lot of my friends are super accommodating. It's not a big deal. But when I'm with people that I don't know super well and they're not vegan, sometimes that can feel a little like complicated. And if I'm with people that are judgmental or like kind of weird about being vegan, that can be odd too. My biggest piece of advice is to be confident about your veganism and choose how you want to interact with the people. I just did a video on the Eco Vegan Gal Facebook page and YouTube channel, all under the username Eco Vegan Gal, giving tips for how to deal with unsupportive people. And I tailored all these tips to people that may not be supportive about veganism, and there's a lot of good answers in there for you about that subject matter. So I think being confident, not taking things personally, and just listening to what people have to say, but knowing that that's their opinion and it might not line up with yours. Jason, what would your advice on this topic be? And Oksana just clarified, specifically non-vegan parents that buy her food supply.
Well, it's an interesting position to be in, because if you are reliant financially on your parents buying food for the household, then the best advice that I can give is to lovingly and clearly state your preferences, you know, in the sense that if you are really clear about why you're choosing the lifestyle of veganism, and you're explaining it clearly to family members, you know, the success that I had with my family, and I mentioned this at the beginning, you know, that my mom is vegan and my two cousins, my uncle, my aunt, is that, you know, I've always been very, very clear as to my reasons why, and they consequently, you know, never really gave me any kind of grief over it. Even though they didn't choose it for years, they understood very clearly my reasons behind it, because, you know, my family had a lot of health issues. I originally became vegan as an offshoot of my grandfather dying of cancer. So I think if you can explain your personal choice, the ethics behind it, your desire to be healthy, your desire to contribute some compassion and healing to the world, you know, human life, animal life, the environment, you know, people will really respect you the more clearly you can convey your reasons. And, you know, when you're living in a house with your parents, you know, they're going to choose their lifestyle even if it's different than yours. But if they're willing to honor your decision and buy you plant-based foods, and here's the thing, what I learned too is one of the reasons I became a chef is that you let the food do the talking. If your parents are willing to buy you plant-based foods, fresh vegetables and you know, really nutritious plant foods, the better you get at making food. I have found that people who aren't even vegan or vegetarian, if you know how to prepare really delicious recipes, they're on board. So I don't know if you're great, Oksana, at making food yet, but if you're not, learn some great recipes and get good at making food, because even people who are skeptical, if they try a delicious vegan meal, the bottom line is people love delicious food. So if you make food delicious, they will eat vegan with you. And my cat is trying to destroy the live stream right now. Come here.
Oksana said, the only thing I've successfully done is replace our dairy milk with soy and almond milk. So that's a start. That is a start. that's so wonderful. Like, just give yourself a pat in the back for that.
Yeah, that's a great start.
And then just take it baby steps. I mean, it's challenging sometimes to live with people that aren't vegan, if you're vegan, but you can easily cohabitate together. You can make everything comfortable. In fact, I did a video on this too recently. Just don't remember if that's on my YouTube channel. Oh no, that was a private video for my platform Eco Vegan Pal, but maybe I'll do a public version of that because I think it's such a great topic. So Kate asked, would you ever date a non-vegan? So Jason and I can give our separate answers. I personally have dated non-vegans, and what?
That's a good question.
I've dated non-vegans, and I'm open to it because I think that, you know, just because someone's vegan doesn't mean that they're the right match for me. And if somebody is a right match for me and they're not vegan, then maybe they would be open to going vegan in the future. And it just really depends on a lot of factors, the dynamics of the relationship and how somebody treats me, how they're respectful of my veganism. Like, there's a lot of things, but I'm definitely open to it, at least right now in my life. Jason, what would your answer be?
I think it depends on the nature of the relationship. If I'm like really casually dating someone, I'm open to that. But if there's any semblance of me thinking like a long-term committed partnership, I'm not into it. And here's why. It's not that I have any judgment about non-vegans. It's that I prefer, if I'm going to be in partnership with someone, like something more serious, that someone's just on my level. You know, to me, it's about the energy and about the state of mindfulness a person has cultivated in their life. And we're all on different levels of our personal evolution. We're all on different levels of learning and evolving as people. But I know for me, food and ethics and how I live on this planet, in general, my philosophy of being on this planet is probably one of the highest things that I prioritize in life. So I guess it depends on the context. Casual dating or just like messing around with someone, having fun, totally game for whatever. But if it's any kind of like long-term partnership possibility, I highly, highly prefer to be with a vegan. Right?
That's right. All right. So Dan asked on YouTube earlier, what do you think of vegans who eat KFC on Sundays? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I know anybody who does that, but definitely not my favorite thing, so I'd prefer, I mean, I don't do that, and I don't know anyone who does it, but I guess, like, depending on how you look at it, though, you can't really, technically you can actually find vegan food at KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken, for those of you who aren't familiar.
Mashed potatoes are vegan.
So, yeah, there are vegan options there, so if you are going there and getting vegan options, like, I guess that's fine. But if you are vegan 6 out of the 7 days a week, maybe you might not technically be vegan, but you're actually making a lot of progress there. So on the other hand, I want to say that's awesome. So being vegan most of the time, or even just once a week, if that's part of your progress and your journey, I think is great. So it depends on your perspective, really.
Some is better than none.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I would agree. All right, so let's see. Oksana also said, I'm trying to eat raw vegan, and it's hard because I usually don't get enough calories and end up being really hungry. I'm going to pass this question to Jason since he was raw vegan for a while.
Yeah, I was actually raw vegan for a little over 3 years. After I graduated from culinary school, which had a raw focus, I was definitely all about the raw food train, and I've done a lot of raw eating and raw food prep and research. And for me, in terms of caloric intake, I don't know what your body type is, Oksana, or what your metabolic rate is, but for me, I have a really high metabolic rate, and if I don't get enough density of calories and really full spectrum nutrients, I feel imbalanced very easily. So for me, on a raw food diet, if I ate a lot of protein and a lot of fat, I felt better. So avocados, soaked in dehydrated nuts, a lot of like dense, like raw pastas, salad dressings, sunflower seed butter, almond butter, things that were just higher in protein and fat and calories allowed me to feel better on a raw diet. If I were to eat fresh fruits and veggies and nothing else, that would be very imbalancing for me and not calorically dense enough. So if you have a fast metabolism and you burn calories quickly, my recommendation is dial in a little bit more fat, natural fat, of course, avocados, olives, raw plant-based fats, and just eat more calorie-dense foods. And I think that one can feel very balanced on a raw vegan diet. You just have to be very mindful of your nutritional intake and your fat and protein intake as well.
Mm-hmm. Great answer.
A lot of people on a raw vegan diet do far too much sugar. And I know some people on 80-10-10 have their own philosophies. I'm not an 80-10-10er, and when I was doing raw vegan, I was not an 80-10-10er because too much fruit sugar makes me feel imbalanced. I need fat and protein because I have such a high metabolism, and I get way too thin if I don't have enough fat and protein. So you really just got to dial in what your individual needs are. But if it's a caloric issue, Oksana, eat more calorically dense foods like nuts, seeds, soaked and dehydrated preferably, and avocados, olives, tahini, things like that.
Mm-hmm. Awesome tips there. And Kate on YouTube says, that's why I broke up with my ex Dan. Part-time vegan isn't a thing, but yes, great if you're gradually getting closer to being vegan. I agree. Wait, Kate, is it a different Dan, or is the guy Dan that asked about KFC the same as your ex-boyfriend, or is that just a coincidence? Wouldn't that be funny? Her ex-boyfriend was on here, like...
Whoa, drama on you now.
So Oksana asked, what is an eco-vegan? Or I spell it ECO for eco-vegan, which means to be eco-friendly. And eco-friendly is another term for environmentally friendly. And I define that by being conscious about your impact on the planet. So being vegan is a great way to be eco-friendly because it naturally has all sorts of benefits for the environment. You're releasing less pollution into the water, into the air, into the earth. You're creating more food for the planet because the animals aren't eating up all the grains and things like that. There's a lot of environmental benefits to being vegan. And there's also consciousness about packaging and things like that. Like, are you buying a lot of packaged food? Are you buying food that's organic? Are you buying foods that, or just products in general, like being conscious about how they were made, who made them, things like fair trade. There's a lot of different elements about being eco-friendly. I also like to use the word from a holistic standpoint. So holistic would be not only your personal wellness, but the wellness of the whole planet. And so just really be more aware of the impact of your decisions when you're buying things, when you're making things, when you're eating things. Like, all these little decisions that we make add up and have an impact on us and on other people, on the earth, on animals. So being eco-vegan is being as good to your body and the planet as you possibly can. And I just want to give a shout out to Catherine, who's here. Thanks so much for joining. And Mark, who became a fan. No Face became a fan. And Ivana on YouTube said, my husband calls himself a part-time vegan. He didn't know what a vegan was before he met me, so that's a pretty big step. Agreed. See, that's amazing. And Yvonne, I don't know if you were here earlier when somebody asked, or Kate asked earlier, would you ever date a non-vegan? And my answer was, yeah, because I want to meet someone that's fully compatible with me. And I love the idea of someone potentially going vegan because of me. So I think that's awesome that that's the situation for you. And did you see that comment that just, oh, you're not in the comment section, Jason. You can switch your viewpoint and it'll show. I don't know how to answer your question, Godly Blue Fast. Yeah, if you click on chat, you can see what other people are saying. But if that actually happened, I'm sorry that happened. So Oksana, thank you so much for being here. And Debbie says, my husband said, is this your Debbie, Jason? What's her last name? Debbie?
Debbie Chu.
Is it Debbie Chu, you think?
Yeah, I think, is that Debbie? Is that you?
Is that you?
Is that you, Debbie? Is that?
She says that her husband says he's 80-20.
Yeah, it's got to be Debbie Chu. It's got to. Yeah, it is Debbie.
Love that.
Yeah. She went vegan. You guys got to check out her YouTube channel. She's got a new YouTube channel and all kinds of great recipes.
All right, so yeah, Ivana just got here. Welcome, Ivana, and Kate again. Thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate that. And Walter asked, what are the percentages? Jason, do you want to explain what Debbie means by 80-20?
Well, she makes amazing vegan food. So that probably means that her husband eats vegan food 80% of the time, and then whatever he wants 20% of the time. But I had the pleasure of hanging out with them at Nicoles pop-up, actually. They were there.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And yeah, I mean, it's to me, it's the energy. It's like he is so on board for what she's doing. He loves her. He loves her food. He loves the brand she's building, and he loves plant-based food. He's not 100%, but it's the fact that, like, in my observation, they have a great relationship. He's very supportive. He loves her food, and it's like that's where he's at. And I think if I just may riff for a second, it's it's a very slippery slope when we use our food choices, our lifestyle choices, our religious choices, our spiritual choices to claim some sort of ethical superiority over other people on this planet. And I was riffing on this last night on my Instagram feed, my Instagram Live, that I think it's important to honor people in their journey, because there's this forgetfulness that we sometimes have as people, forgetting that we have our own journey and that most of us were not born vegan. We ate different ways, we worship different ways, different political beliefs, and best not to
get into any kind of ethically superior or spiritual superior mindset based on how I live, because first of all, I don't want to judge or put negativity else in their journey, and second of all, I'm superior.
I don't feel I'm superior.
My choices are my choices, and if people want to learn and hear my wisdom, so be it. But choosing any kind of lifestyle or anything we do is not about being better than anyone. I just want to share that. Mm-hmm. So getting rid of the judgment, having preferences, and having boundaries are great and healthy. But I think we can dial back the judgment
and the negativity a lot in our society.
Mm-hmm. Walter also asked about clarifying what that means. Hold on one second. Ryan says that the feed is freezing and echoing. I'm noticing that too. Jason's been freezing on my side. Sometimes your internet can be a little not so great. So, I don't know how to prevent the echo. It just started echoing out of nowhere? Why don't we, I'm going to drop Jason temporarily. Did you see yourself slide out of the screen? And your kitten is up for attention too. So
he's flying.
So Jason, you could also just come. Jason's literally sitting right next to me, so it might be. Why don't you close down your U now, just in case? Is the echo better for you guys now? Hopefully. It's so interesting live broadcasting. Like with all the technology that we have, it's amazing how it's still echoing, Catherine. Let me just wait to hear. I feel like your internet, I have a lot of trouble here with your internet account.
No.
Oh, it's gone now. Okay, good.
Don't do it.
Now it's gone.
Nugget.
What you're saying. So there's a cute little kitten who wants lots of attention. It's better, Debbie said. Okay, cool. So Jason can kind of just squeeze into this tight little area. Yeah, I think that's probably why. Okay, good. Thanks, Kate. Bree says it's black on my screen. Yes. Okay. It looks like the glitch is gone. Thank you guys for alerting me of that. So 80-10-10.
Well, it's like 80. It's like 80% carbs, 10% fat, 10% protein. So it's just a ratio that Dr. Douglas Graham is probably the most famous proponent of this. And Dr. Doug Graham that says for human performance that it's best that we get 80% of our carbohydrates, 80% from fat, 80% from protein. But again, I'm all about the individual constitution. Again, like if I were to do 80% carbs, I get way too thin and I don't feel like I have enough energy, as opposed to dialing in more fat and more protein. So for me, if I were to kind of for me, it's probably like, I don't know, I've never measured mine. It's probably like 30-30-40, if I had to guess. like 30% protein, 30% fat, 30% carbs. I feel more balanced that way.
Okay.
When things are more balanced in that.
It's starting to echo again, Catherine says.
What is the kitten's name?
Any better, Catherine, at this point? Let me know. I'll continue to adjust. So Garbage Man is watching. He says, sounds good. And says that I eat a lot of nuts, roots, berries, and veggies. That's awesome. Vegan for life. And Catherine says, echoing on her end. If anybody else is experiencing an echo, let me know. There's only so much that I can do. YouNow doesn't give you the most control over things, and I've noticed, I don't know, it's been iffy. I'm still learning a lot about YouNow as I go along, so I appreciate everybody's patience. And so Garbage Man asked, are you not deficient in vitamin A?
You asking me or Whitney?
I think you, because you were just talking about this.
No, I'm not deficient in vitamin A. At least the last blood panel test, I was not deficient in vitamin A. And it's important, whether you're vegan or not, to get your blood work done, so you can get a really accurate snapshot of all your nutrient levels. So I highly recommend, if you guys have never done that, it's eye-opening. I know I got kitten in a headlock.
Is it still choppy? I know that it's been choppy. I'm telling you, your internet is like not so great for lives. Do you have a hard time with internet? Your internet too for live streaming?
No, not usually. I don't.
Yeah.
But I'll call them anyway.
Okay, good. Well, it sounds like it's good enough.
I'll get this guy on the case. I'm gonna have him make all my calls.
Okay, good. Thank you guys for all the feedback on the quality. I think that it was probably just the fact that we were live streaming simultaneously. I just wanted to test out the feature and all that stuff. So Bree said, isn't that really impossible in a diet full of veggies? So Bree, I don't know if you mean being deficient. Jason actually can talk a lot about this, how he's been vegan for how long?
It'll be 20 years next year. And
you have studied nutrition, you're a chef, you know a lot about getting a varied diet, and yet you got deficient at some point. And tell them why that was.
Well, I think it's easy to be deficient in things for two reasons. Number one, for those of us that are really busy, which is everybody, eating.
Not everybody.
Well, busyness.
I hate the word busy.
Okay.
I really can't stand it, and I also try not to use the word everyone because.
Okay. Well, let me just say this then.
Maybe
if someone feels that they have little time to prepare healthy food at home.
Well said, you.
It can be challenging. It can be challenging to get enough variety and density of nutrients, and there's two reasons why. When we're not preparing enough healthy food at home, it's too easy to go and kind of get grab-and-go stuff that's prepared somewhere else, which may or may not be as nutritious as the stuff we're making at home. And the second thing is, with all the food that we're growing today, a lot of the food that is grown, the topsoil erosion that's happened, especially in the last 80 years, the level of nutrients in the produce we have, by and large, is much less than our grandparents' generation in terms of vitamins, minerals, macronutrients. So I'm a big fan of supplementation when necessary, because the fact is a lot of our food supply, even produce, is a lot less nutritious than 2 generations ago, based on the soil. So I think it's important, like I said, to get blood panel work done and see what you're deficient in and what your also levels are great in, and then adjust as necessary. But I'm a big fan of supplementation because you're not guaranteed to be fully nutrified on a vegan diet.
Right.
You can be, but you have to be very exacting with it and dial in what needs to be dialed in. Just assuming that you're vegan equals healthy is a misnomer.
Yeah.
It's a misnomer.
I think that's true. And Garbage Man said, I feel high energy when I stay on heavy veg.
That's awesome.
Kate says, my bloods are perfect, but I agree bloods for allergies are very important. So I imagine you mean blood panels. And Betty asked, can you address a low oxalate diet? I get kidney stones and have to avoid high oxalate foods.
I can't comment on that.
You don't know about it?
I have no experience with low oxalate diets.
Do you know anything about it?
Nope.
Oh. Okay. That's rare that you don't know how to answer something. Have you heard of that before?
I've heard of it. Yes, I've heard of low oxalate diets, but I don't have even a shred of expertise to comment with any sort of confidence.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Betty, I can't really address that because it's not my wheelhouse. But I definitely
Not
want to
mine
research
either.
it now.
Yeah. So if we can help you, point you in the right direction somewhere, we'd love to. And if anybody else is watching that has experience with that, let us know so we can let her know. And Ryan says Julius is adorable. He is. This is Jason's rescue cat, who was potentially just going to be a foster cat, but I think he's part of the family. And then Jason's other cat, I think you're going to have to go get her because it could be distracting if she's crying. So Jason has 4 rescue cats, and they can often be very needy. But this is the latest one. He's like 9 weeks old. He is the sweetest little boy.
Yeah.
And Garbage Man said, I've heard that there could be damage to teeth being vegan, but I haven't had that problem. I don't know if that's the case, and I'm not sure why it would be. You know, a lot of people associate like calcium. Oh, it's a lot of excitement all of a sudden. If you're getting enough calcium in your diet, which is fairly easy to do on a plant-based diet, then you should be okay. What else, Jason, affects teeth health?
Silica.
Silica. What?
Vitamin K.
Okay.
Magnesium.
Can you speak to this?
Yeah. So calcium is a bit overrated. It's not that calcium is not important, but if we're talking about teeth health, bone health, joint health, that kind of thing, we're really looking at things like other minerals. We're looking at magnesium. Magnesium is a precursor to calcium in the body. It actually converts to calcium in the body. So magnesium deficiency is a much higher problem in our society than calcium deficiency. So magnesium is important for teeth health, bone health, all of that. Vitamin K, which is high in cruciferous vegetables, vitamin K is very important. And then also silica is really good for hair, teeth, nails, those kind of things.
Very good. See?
Calcium is, people focus too much on calcium, I think. That's my opinion.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's see what else we have here. Can a cat become vegan? They can, technically, but it's not great for them. This is another thing Jason can speak on. Mr. Expert over here.
Yeah, so cats do not do as well on alkaline foods as dogs do. The difference in their enzymes, their digestion, stomach acid, all of that is very different. Many dogs can thrive on a vegan diet, including Evie.
My dog's name is Evie, and she's been vegan for her whole life. And
cats can eat plant foods. In fact, mine eat things like zucchini and kale and skullcap and milk thistle and acai, and they even have my vegan smoothies in the morning. But a 100% vegan alkaline diet is very damaging to them. It's damaging to their kidneys, it's damaging to their digestive system. So a fully plant-based alkaline diet is not good for cats. They're not physically set up to do it. So they eat a lot of plant foods, but not exclusively. They do eat animal protein because before I adopted my first 2, Lynx and Claudia, I actually talked to 3 vegan veterinarians, and all of them said, yeah, they can eat plant foods, but you can't do it 100%. So I took the advice of them, and so yeah, the cats do what they do to be healthy, and they're very healthy cats.
Debbie asks, what food do you feed your dog? So Evie kind of alternates between a few things. Right now she's eating Natural Balance. She loves rice and chickpeas.
And V-Dog, old school.
Yep, so well, I was getting there. So she's doing a canned wet food from Natural Balance that I mix with various grains like rice, sometimes quinoa, chickpeas, just to kind of add more variety. I'll give her all different types of vegetables. And Natural Balance makes one. Halo also makes a canned vegan dog food. And then Natural Balance, Halo, V-Dog, Gather, there's like at least 4 very easy to find vegan kibbles for dogs. And then a few others like Evolution, they have a dog food, I think. Evolution's known for their vegan cat food, but I think they have the dog food. There's a bunch of smaller brands, international brands that make it. Vegan dog kibble is like so easy to find at Petco, at all sorts of, like, I just go to a small pet store in Los Angeles, and they have tons of vegan options for dogs there. So they're super supportive of it. I went there today and saw another woman buying vegan dog food. They're all nutritionally balanced. My dog's been vegan for 7.5 years, so she's just thriving on it. Okay, so over on YouTube, Kate said, I believe for kidney issues you need herbal medicine rather than to try to treat it through food, and to avoid foods high in oxalate includes beans, beer, beets, berries, chocolates, coffee, cranberries, dark green vegetables such as spinach, nuts, oranges, rhubarb, soda, soybeans, soy milk, spinach, sweet potatoes, black tea, tofu, and wheat bran.
Wow, Kate, you are a compendium of information.
You know
Kate.
a lot.
Impressive.
And, oh wow, this is interesting. Garbage Man said, did you know there was a great white shark who refused to eat meat?
No, I've heard of the lion though. There was a lion in Hollywood that was in a bunch of Hollywood movies back in the day. I think it was the MGM lion. You know the MGM.
Yeah.
The rah, rah, the MGM.
Yeah.
That was actually vegan. It refused to eat meat.
You do that again?
Yeah, rah, rah. I can't do the whatever. That's the MGM lion.
One more time.
Rah, rah.
That's better. That's
Okay.
better. Your neighbors are going to love
They
that.
are. But I've not heard of a great white shark. We need to Google that.
Yeah, I want to check that out. Garbage Man, maybe you can send me a link.
What the hell did the great white shark eat then? I'm very curious
Yeah.
about this. I'm very curious about this.
Catherine said, what did I just watch? I was hoping somebody would grab the little replay. There's a replay button that people can capture.
What, and it'd be slow-mo, me going...
The other day, I'll have to show it to you because your internet connection's kind of weird and like my audio wasn't right. I'll have to play it for you, but like Evie barked in the background and it made like this weird sound on my camera, and somebody here was captured that moment. It was pretty funny.
That's cool.
Okay, so Bree said, this is something I'm struggling with because my dogs are vegan like me, but I have a cat and I still buy the regular cat food because I want to do what's best for her. So Jason can talk to this too. How do you feel about having 4 animals in your life that you buy non-vegan food for?
It's not easy. It's not my... Here's how I look at it. My sense of ethics in my life that I've chosen for the last 20 years are my sense of ethics. And I acknowledge that in order to caretake for certain beings in this world, whether those are the cats that I'm adopting or other people in my family that I might have to care for at some point that are going to choose a different lifestyle than me. So animals have, in my opinion, they don't have a sense of ethics because ethics are a human-created concept. So I willfully chose to adopt these animals that needed homes, knowing that they weren't going to be fully vegan. I try and feed them as much plant food as I can, but it's an ethical compromise for me. And I guess it's given me more, how do I say this? Understanding or acceptance of the fact that like perfection is not something I'm going for, and I just try and do the best I can. And in my life, I try and choose the most compassionate, ethical, vegan choices when possible. Like, you know, I'm getting a Tesla at some point this year, right? And they say that the Model 3 is going to have a fully vegan interior. Like, you can get a fully vegan interior.
Cool.
So I get to choose in most areas of my life, you know, the most compassionate option possible. And with my cats, even though they're not vegan, I try and feed them as much vegan food as possible. Mm-hmm. But it is an ethical compromise for me. But again, they have no sense of ethics. So for me to impose my ethics on my animal that isn't meant to eat that way, to me, that's unethical. To try and force them to do something that they're not meant to do physically.
Right. Well, I think I see your point there, but we also have to remember we're forcing our ethics on our animals no matter what in terms of our living space. Whatever food we feed them is our choice ultimately.
That's a good point.
So what brand you buy, what type, like, and so a lot of people will use that as an argument not to feed like dogs a vegan diet, and I'm like, you're still buying them kibble.
That's a good point.
So if they're getting all of their nutrients in the food,
I don't know what to do. I brought her down. She went back
Can
up.
you guys hear the cat in the background crying?
Hey.
She does this for attention, though. She wants your attention.
I know, but I've already got her.
She goes upstairs to the second level of Jason's home and cries so that Jason has to go get her. It's like a game that she plays. All right, lots of questions coming in. What do you think of super meat? I don't know what that is. Do you?
Super meat is lab-grown meat.
Oh, like a vegan lab-grown or
no,
not?
I think they culture it from animal cells.
Oh, okay.
But if we're talking about the same thing, which I think super meat is, stem cell meat. You know, if they can take, like, say, a donor batch of cells and replicate it over and over without having to kill, you know, billions and billions of land and sea animals every year, then that's, to me, that's progress. You know, if animals don't have to get slaughtered to provide a food supply, and we can take a cell culture and replicate it over and over again, to me that is progress. Ultimately, I think that the progress that is being made with plant proteins is very exciting. But if it's an alternative between slaughterhouses and factory farms and lab-grown meat from a cell donor, it's progress.
So Ryan made a good point that super meat may be a good idea for pets. So maybe for cats, that might be a little bit of a more ethical option for an animal like cats that needs to eat it, but maybe not for us as humans.
Well, I've also read that they've done a lot of nutritional studies on this super meat, but it's so intensive in terms of manufacturing that it's not something that's able to be released to the public yet because it's so cost prohibitive. So they're doing it, but we can't really afford it yet.
Right.
So
Mellow Mike asked earlier, so many people in the U.S. have sinus congestion. How much of that do you think is related to diet? I think a lot of it is based on my personal experience. I have struggled with sinus issues for a very long time, and they only come back now when I eat certain foods that I'm sensitive to. So all of my sinus congestion is related to food, and it took me a while to realize that. I used to sneeze and have all sorts of sinus issue for many years when I stopped eating gluten. And well, dairy was the first one when I first went vegan, but after I was vegan it still happened. And so a lot of times it's related to gluten for me. Sometimes soy. Corn not as much, but I'm sensitive to corn. And almonds actually are a food sensitivity for me, and they cause sinus issues. And somebody mentioned the neti pot. Kate mentioned the neti pot. The neti pot helped me so much. I've been using this thing called the neti pot. You can look it up. It's a water, it irrigates your nose basically. Is that the right word, irrigate?
yes, irrigate is correct. Yes.
So, and you use another thing called what?
I just use a saline spray, and here's why. I personally found the neti pot too messy. It just got, well, I just didn't like it. I didn't like, listen, I do so much self-care that, like, I just got lazy, and the neti pot was too many steps. So I got in these metal canisters a saline spray that has the same thing. It's salt water that goes up the nose, goes out the other side. And for me, the issue with congestion, I just want to say this, isn't so much food related. It's being in a metro area in LA that has really compromised air quality. And I know that, like, I just got back from Vermont, where I was on tour, right? The air was incredible in Vermont. Sinus issues were gone. So to me, it's an air quality and pollution thing. That's for me.
I have sinus issues everywhere I go, and I noticed that that's because it's a food thing. So when I'm eating really well, I won't have sinus issues. But if I splurge and have gluten or almonds, for example, because every once in a while I'm very tempted to have something with almonds, then I have sinus challenges. Lots of comments coming in, so we'll keep our answers really short so we can get to as many of you as possible. Toby asked, are we a couple or friends? We are friends. We used to be a couple, so that's part of the reason that we're so close and care so much about each other, but we are just friends. And let's see, lots of people on YouTube, thanks so much for joining. And let's see, Kate, you're super knowledgeable, by the way. I just want to give you props for that, and I'm just curious, what's your background? How do you know so much? Garbage Man asks, salt candles good for asthma? As in candles made from salt, or is there like something else called a salt candle?
I've never heard of a salt candle.
Unless
they're talking about Himalayan crystal salt lamps.
Right, exactly.
But,
yeah,
like
and those
candle.
can be, because you're adding more salt into the atmosphere.
And negative ions as well.
Exactly. And let's see. So Garbage Man said, I know in Poland, you're Polish.
Yes. No zdrowia.
Many children go to salt mines for a few weeks and are asthma-free for 2 years. Wow, that's fascinating.
Incredible. Garbage Man, you are also a wealth of information, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said there was a nurse shark, by the way, not a great white. the one that wasn't eating meat.
Interesting. I want to meet this shark.
Yeah.
Go hang out with the shark.
And Seven Piece Frog, thanks for being here. I know it's late, so you can absolutely watch this video later on. Iger said, I think gluten is one of the most damaging foods you can eat, literally. I think that's true for a lot of people, but not necessarily everybody. Some people are completely unaffected by gluten. Some people have celiac disease, and then some people like me have food sensitivities. So there's kind of a different range, and it also depends what type of gluten, where the gluten's coming from. There's a lot of factors. And Kate, yes, activated almonds. I've tried all different soaked almonds, sprouted almonds, like all of the different types of almonds, and they all seem to affect me, sadly. It's very frustrating. And Mellow Mike said, I wish more people would look to their diet. So many people on meds and getting surgeries over things that could be fixed with diets, and the doctors are happy to capitalize on that.
Well said.
Very well said. There's some great documentaries about this, including the new one, What the Health, which is on Netflix right now.
People have been crazy over that, by the way.
It's so good.
Crazy.
It's kind of like Forks Over Knives that came out years ago, and people went crazy over that.
Yes, it's that same kind of response.
And then now What the Health is like the kind of more modern version of it, which is so, so good. And thanks to HWB, who's here, he says, is it true that GMOs is making people hay? I don't know if you meant to write hay, but GMOs are definitely kind of a messy situation, at least I believe so. And there's a lot of controversy around this and all of that, but GMOs stand for genetically modified organisms, so it's often food, and it can be other products as well, but food that are modified in a certain way to sometimes grow bigger, to be different colors, to taste differently. Like Walmart, for example, I think genetically modified watermelons pretty recently because I think it was watermelon, but I read this in an article pretty recently how it was like when people, or maybe it was cantaloupes. Some fruit that Walmart sold that people were buying a ton of, but depending on the time of year, they weren't always sweet, and people get frustrated when food doesn't taste the way it wants to. But the truth is that when you eat seasonal food, you're eating food that's meant to grow at certain times of the year. If you try to force a food to taste a certain way when it's not meant to grow in either the area or that time of year, then you're not going to get the outcome you want. So companies are now genetically modifying it so they get the results they want year round and no matter where they're grown.
Yeah, a couple of comments on that real quick.
Yeah.
First of all, shout out to the country of Costa Rica, who's banned Monsanto from their country and genetically modified foods.
That's awesome.
Very ahead of the curve. But here's the thing about GMOs. I don't support animal research, but the research that I've seen around GMOs, especially internationally, has shown a lot of genetic mutation and disruptive cellular behavior through genetically modified foods. Okay, so there hasn't been a lot of human studies, and especially here in the States, we're not as progressive, but internationally, there's been a ton of research on genetically modified foods and how that disrupts mammalian cells. So it is very concerning because we don't have the research to see what it'll actually do on humans yet.
Right.
It's like a big eugenics experiment, I think.
And this is an issue for so many years. I did a video about this in 2012. If you're on YouNow, you can go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/ecovegangal. If you type in GMOs, you'll find there's one major video I did about this, and it was about Monsanto. Type Monsanto into my channel and you'll find it. Or if you go to Google, just type Eco Vegan Gal Monsanto. And I did an in-depth video about this years ago. And it's so interesting 5 years later how some things have changed, but it feels like not much has changed in the way of GMOs. We've gotten more labeling and transparency, and we have countries fighting back against it, but I don't know, it doesn't feel like we've made huge progress unless I'm forgetting about something, but it feels like there's still a lot of confusion and fear around this. By the way, my computer is dying. Will you check my bag and see if I brought my power cord? I might have forgotten my computer power cord and have to end this pretty soon. But Soy Luna, let's see, did I bring it? Nope. All right, so I'm gonna have to wrap things up in a few minutes. But do you feel like going live on your YouNow channel, Jason, or not? Not tonight. Okay.
So I'm still catching
up on sleep. So we'll probably wrap this up for tonight in a few minutes.
We can
but
be
I'll
on
answer
soon
some more
again,
questions.
yeah.
And so Luna asks, what are your favorite restaurants in LA? She lives in LA too, as do Jason and I.
You want to go first? We'll trade off one-on-one.
Ryan, unfortunately, Jason has a newer model. My laptop is 5 years old now.
I've got the newer I've got the, what do you call it, Retina.
Unfortunately, they don't. It's not the same cord, so it's kind of annoying. But Soy Luna, favorite restaurants in LA. Shojin is number 1.
Yep, Sadha, Thai.
Lock, Mouse Organics. We were just talking about this the other day.
Punch Bowl.
For juice.
Why can't we think?
I mean, Sage,
good.
Gracias Madre, Cafe Gratitude, they're all similar, are owned by similar people, and
there's a lot of great options. There's like there's so many.
I know.
Those are just kind of top level.
Yeah, but I would say that Shojin is not to be missed, or is Sadha, and Sadha I don't feel like gets nearly as much recognition as it deserves.
It doesn't.
Neither does Kitchen Mouse, and
That's
Organics
true.
is very good. So they're all kind of hidden gems.
If you want the best brunch, go to Kitchen Mouse in Highland Park. It's the brunch.
But they have food all day long, I think, most days.
Yeah, they do.
But Sa is like the best Thai food I ever had, I think. Satdha?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, I always forget how to pronounce it. I keep cutting out. Oh no. So is the video choppy again? I'm sorry, you guys. It's blame Jason's at. I don't get the chance when I stream at home, so if it's been choppy this whole time, I really apologize. I think I have to wrap this up because my computer's about to die. And Kale asked about, Kate, I love this how Kate and Kale6 are talking to each other. Kate, you're so knowledgeable. You're studying herbal medicine and you're a vegan chef. That's awesome.
Props to you, Kate. That's why you got the skills to pay the bills.
All right, real quick. Let's give just lightning fast answers. Omega-3s and flax seeds. I think flax seeds can be a great source of omega-3s.
Yeah,
Jason.
here's the thing. Omega-3.
Quick answer though.
Yeah, omega-3s, you got to get all 3. You have to get EPA, DHA, and ALA. Most vegans are only getting ALA, alpha-linoleic acid. That's hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds. You must, for brain health, get EPA and DHA. You must. So that means taking an algae supplement like this one. I'll throw it to you.
He's going to show us. My computer's going to die like any moment. So if I get abruptly cut off, you guys will understand.
These are the 2 things you want.
So these are what Jason takes.
You have to get EPA and DHA. Do not just get ALA. If you're only getting ALA, your brain and your nervous system are not getting nourished in the way they need. Because fish, if you're not doing fish, that's where most of the EPA and DHA come from. So again, omega-3s, EPA, DHA, and ALA.
Okay. Oh, Chew on Vegan. That's Debbie, right?
Yeah.
Right. That is really good. And Kale6, I hope you got your answer from Kate, who's very knowledgeable. 7-Piece Frog has fibromyalgia. And says that a vegan.
Questions.
I know you guys are amazing
so
tonight.
Many good questions.
Listen, the chats get deleted from YouNow and YouTube. So if we don't get to answer you either, I would recommend going to youtube.com/ecovegangal and comment on this video recording. It will be up and we'll answer later on. Or find us on social media, Jason Wrobel, all one word, and Eco Vegan Gal. If you can't find Jason, just come to my account. You'll see him linked because he's one of my best friends. Thank you everyone for being here, to Walter, to Rosette, to Ryan, and to Soy Luna. If you ever have any questions about LA, let us know. Kate, thank you so much for being here.
Great resource.
Kate, you're amazing.
Great resource.
Please, will you reach out to me? Maybe send me an email. Maybe we can do like a collaboration. Maybe you can come on my YouNow stream at some point, or Facebook Live or something like that. Thank you to Nod8D for being here on a regular basis. Everybody for your phenomenal questions. If you would like to see Jason and more live streams, let me know. If you want to see Jason on YouNow, let him know. You can go follow him under Jason Wrobel.
Yeah.
And hopefully he'll start going live. He's also live on Instagram and Facebook very, very frequently.
Do a lot of live streams.
So, okay, I'm going to wrap this up because my computer's about to die. Good night, everyone, or good morning, depending on where you live. Appreciate all of you. And Kale6 wanted a really quick answer, but I don't know if we have.
He wants me to talk about oils.
Okay.
I can't give you a quick answer. Kale6, it's a long conversation about oils, so I'll just have to address it next time.
Yeah. Okay. We'll get back to you. I promise, Kale6.
For sure.
Just stay in touch, and we'll be sure to answer you next time. Bye, everyone. Thanks again.